Right. So, welcome to the show. Let's look at this. We say the things that should be talked about on this platform. We try to put in place to where we can get things pointed in the right direction. I am your host, Dr. K. This is my co-host, Minister P. Mr. P.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning, everybody. It's always good in the neighborhood.
Oh yeah, gotta keep it good in the neighborhood. Well, we're gonna get started because we don't want to go over time today because it's gonna be a little heated show today. And we're gonna start with our code, or should be a code of ethics. 1, speak politely. 2, pay fairly for what you buy. 3, return everything you borrow. 4, pay for anything you damage. 5, not hit, swear at people. 6, not take liberties with women. 7, not damage properties and props. 4, oppress masses. 8, forever take a capital. Not ill treat that individual. Okay, take it away, Mr. P.
All right, listen, our 5 ethical codes for our behavior in our Black community is: number 1, have integrity. Do what's right all the time. Y'all listening? Number 2, unity. Together, we all will achieve more. Number 3, objectivity. Have a vision, have a place to reach towards, aspire. Number 4, confidentiality. Look, what you say to me stays with me. What I say to you in confidence stays with you. Stop the gossiping. Number 5, have growth. Men, women, personal growth. Grow up, grow up, grow up. Those are our 5.
Oh yeah. So getting started today, topic is, we're gonna get right in. Word of death. We're gonna get right in, and that goes into the topic where we had a conversation about that, and so many aspects of things happening in today's society versus to how things is played out, and we definitely went ahead and adhered to it. We talked about on the previous platform. We talked about having that gag order. The gag order being placed on what they call us Black community, and putting us in a position to where we can't say something. We can't even put out anything that may have that talks about us. We are only to just be a blinded horse, or a blinded aspect of what would with blinders on, horse with blinders on. So talking about the word of death, that brings it to the word they call anti-Semitism, and it relates to you supposed to be hating a group, and then when you look at the definition, the true definition of anti-Semitism, we're gonna go into it. It talks about how the word was actually developed in Germany, and at last time I looked, I don't have any German ties, and even that word in itself, it talked about something drastic happening to a group that called themselves, or what their religion was, what they practiced was Judaism or Judaism, and then calling themselves in short Jewish. but they were only practicing a religion, not that was their cultural background. You take all of, I call it a costume. We pick the costume off. They're just ordinary, what they would call in today's society, white. So, we have to make things plain and clear today. We're living in a society to where goofiness is on a high. And I'll say it again, we live in a society today where goofiness is on a high level. So anything that makes sounds right is treated bad. Anything that's definitely wrong is treated to be right. So, that would be like, hey, ministry, hey, the correct way of tying your shoes is tying both laces together and then you walk. And you say, oh, okay. And you do it. And then you fall on your face. They say, well, no, you ain't walking the right way with them tied, with your shoelace tied together. You got to walk this way and then you won't fall. No, they shouldn't be tied together at all. It's just trying to make it plain, people, and make an example of that, especially to what type of society we're living in, where goofiness is the norm now. And so as goofiness is the norm, go ahead, Mr.
So, Dr. Hebby, before we even shift subjects, listen, I want to add a scripture to that, because the Bible says this: woe unto them that call evil good and good evil. And so we are living, just as you espoused on, we are living in those days when we see people are calling things that are good evil, and things that are evil, they're calling them good, because these people have their own personal agenda and want to make their reality the reality of society. See, no one man and no one woman can make their reality the reality of society. We all go by norms and things of that nature. So, yeah, we the Bible cautions against what is going on today and that type of rhetoric.
That goes into the scripture ministry about the synagogues of Satan.
Yeah.
Aren't we looking at that?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. If we're gonna be clear and making it plain, that's where we're at, about these words. They're saying that we're anti. Now we would be anti-Semites, Minister P, and if we had to go into that definition, and it doesn't really relate to anybody what would look like us. So if there's something done against you and I, as they call us in this society, black, wouldn't that could be considered to be anti-black or anti-Negro? Let's get back to the main term, Negro. Go back to the real term, since they're going to use that term that was developed in 1879. Let's go back to the term that they call, or more or less, matter of fact, let's even go back further. Let's go back into the word more. So is there anti-Moorism, anti-Negro, anti-black, anti-hate? What is it called when it's atrocity committed against us? What do they call that? But I forgot. We don't own and control anything, so we can't, we can't say anything in reference to that. There goes that gag order again. But just to get into topic of things, and we want to go into, and the buffoonery, Minister Pete, that we got to adhere to. I like watching basketball. I played basketball at several levels, all the levels, to be honest. But it's like, when do you start to stand up and make it plain and stop all the rhetoric talk just to save face, and that's going into. First, we'll start out with. Opposite the idiot, well, let's go into what we're talking about, this word anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
And because they're using this platform on a high scale to make us, so the world in itself can see it, because they're not going to see you and I for the most part, right? Because we're not on the Ted Turner networks, we're not on the NBC, we're not on the CBS, we're not on the ABC, and they won't put us there. And that's fine. But let's see who they are putting there. This goes into what was said by the brother Kyrie Irving
Right.
and the statement that he made
Well,
and what
should
was
we,
said.
Dr. K, you want to give the definition of anti-Semitic, the usable definition that we are using today for the word anti-Semitic, brothers and sisters, friends and listeners, is anti-Semitic is feeling or showing hostility towards or discrimination against Jews as a cultural, racial, or ethnic group. That's the usable and working definition for the word anti-Semitic or anti-Semitism.
So in that ministry, reading that, where was that any of that displayed? If we're going to use Kyrie Irving,
Yeah. So you
did he physically harm anybody?
As a matter of fact, he never used any of those words.
One, two, did he physically harm anybody?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
That I'm aware of.
Right. That we are aware of. Right. So if he didn't physically put his hands on someone now.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's just one person. And if he did put his hands on one individual that would call themselves that's just between him and that individual. He didn't come outside his house and say, well, now Kyrie Irving, I'm going personally myself to attack this whole group now. By myself. One man, I'm going to attack 1,000 people. See the goofiness in this? This is where we're at now. What you're saying, and yet nobody's breaking down that definition. They're just going with goofy terms. Like, yeah, Kyrie Irving just went in and attacked. He physically went in and attacked somebody. Physically now, that's the key word, physically. He actually got up out of his bed, put on some shoes, and went out the door and physically put his hand on somebody. Now, we don't know that to be true. There was just words made, words said.
Oh, I didn't even know that they said he became physical. All I know is that he had.
That's what I'm saying. But he made a statement.
A statement, nothing physical.
You're right, nothing physical.
Right.
So, but they're making so what your definition you just read, and the definition that we know of anti-Semitism, meaning that you physically are going to do something, not making a statement. And matter of fact, his statement didn't even really gear towards anything that would cause somebody to be saying that I hated somebody. So we're gonna go into that. Let's go into his, and we'll read it out. We'll let the whole thing play. That way our people can understand. And we'll chime in as references back and forth of what was said, so we can understand what was said in the interview that may have, one, harmed somebody, and may have, two, see if he actually said that physically he was going to do something. We have to catch all these terms, people. Let's go. Let's go.
So we cannot hear it.
I'm sorry. Say that again, Mr. B. I'm sorry.
We can't hear him speak.
Okay. Sorry. Forgive me, people. Forgive me. Let me go back. Okay.
Given to Christ, Philippians 2:11, and my name translates in the Hebrew language as Yahweh. So I went on to Amazon Prime. I was like, you know what, let me see if there are any documentaries on Yahweh. So went in the search bar, typed in Yahweh, that came up. Went out and shared it on my platform. That was my night. In terms of the backlash, or what people call it, we're in 2022. History is not supposed to be hidden from anybody. And I'm not a divisive person when it comes to religion. I embrace all walks of life. You see it on all my platforms. I talk to all races, all cultures, all religions, and my response would be, it's not about educating yourself on what Semitism is and what anti-Semitism is. It's really about learning the root words of where these come from and understanding that this is an African heritage that is also belonging to the people. Africa is in it, whether we want to dismiss it or not. So the claims of anti-Semitism and who are the original chosen people of God, and we go into these religious conversations and it's a big no-no. I don't live my way like that. I don't live my life that way. Excuse me, I grew up in a melting pot, and I say a melting pot of all races, white, black, red, yellow, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, and you can see the way I live my life now. I'm not here to be divisive, so they could push their agenda. I don't want to say they, because I'm not identifying any one group or race of people, but I'm in a unique position to have a level of influence on my community, and what I post does not mean that I support everything that's being said or everything that's being done, or I'm campaigning for anything. All I do is post things for my people in my community and those that it's actually going to impact. Anybody else that has criticism, it obviously wasn't meant for them.
Okay. Let's be so now in there. If you listening to that, did you hear anything in there that he said that may have offended anybody?
Absolutely not. Not in that statement at all. Yeah. So
I mean, and then they, you more, you know, we talked about the posting where he posted the I believe from Jewish to Negro. That was the actual movie that is on Amazon Prime that he just told people to watch. Now, prior in his, now this is not the full interview, but as it starts, it's part of a full interview. And when he started his statement off, he said his name is translated into Yahweh, right?
mm-hmm.
So saying that, he's saying, hey, well, I don't know if he had a conversation with somebody on his platform, but he said, well, hey, you know, take a look at this just to kind of give you an insight on Yahweh. Of course, Yahweh, who they would call Christ or Jesus,
Right,
in the Hebrew language. So now, in that post, him posting that, he said nothing to the fact that he would actually be harming anyone. Now, he just said the words of reference to, hey, well, he goes some research that you make, even posting it on social media. He just said he didn't, you know, he said if it was there for you, fine. If you can use it and get an understanding what the movie was about, great. But I'm not gonna add to that particular, I'm not gonna add to it. Let the movie speak for itself. Or the documentary. Let the documentary speak for itself. I mean, if you ask me a question on my platform personally, that's just something. Hey, it's on a personal level. Hey, Gary, blah blah blah. Did you understand this documentary, or did you have anything to? What was your soundbite on this documentary? And that again, that would be between him and his followers, or whoever follows him on social media. So let's continue. Go ahead, Mr.
Oh yeah, you were going to continue in his statement.
Yes, I'm gonna let it play out.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, we gonna. This is we going in. We going. So if you got anything that you want to add in, once through his statement, but I want to get the interview out there that was so we can understand and break it down what was said. Right. We can have a full understanding what out of that he said that caused him, and then to correlate on how that would affect us outside of entertainment, NBA.
Hopefully I'm understanding what you said, and I want to make sure I get it right because I don't want to misquote any part of it.
I don't expect understanding from a media conglomerate group that sincerely talks about the game of basketball, and then we bring up religion as if it's correlative at times when it's convenient for people to bring it up. So please just be direct with your question so we can move on from this and I can talk about the game and go home to my son, Elohim, and my wife, Marlene, okay?
Am I to take it that this was, what you shared was not something that you've even watched? This was, you did watch it, or either watch it or read it.
I had a lot of time last year to read a lot. Read a whole bunch. Good and bad about the truth of our world.
So then do you, I guess, understand or not understand those that might imply that that work had anti-Semitic leanings in it? I only ask this because the tweet is still up there, so we're
in 2022. It's on Amazon, a public platform. Whether you want to go watch it or not is up to you. There's things being posted every day. I'm no different than the next human being, so don't treat me any different. You guys come in here and make up this powerful influence I have over top of the adultery of, oh, you cannot post that. Why not? Why not? I don't hear uproar on that. I'm not here to be divisive on what's going on this or that. I'm not comparing Jews to blacks. I'm not comparing white to black. I'm not doing that.
Well, you see, you know what's odd, Minister P? Man, you heard that beat.
Mhm.
Now he didn't cuss, so he may have made reference to, here's a word that's, you know, them calling us nigger. That's the only thing I can get out of that. Because he referenced to something and they beat it out. But you don't catch it. Because he said you don't hear anybody making an uproar about this statement, and they blurted it out.
That conversation is dismissive, and it constantly revolves around the rhetoric of who are the chosen people of God. And I'm not here to argue over a person or a culture or religion on what they believe. No, this is what is here. It's on a public platform. Did I do anything illegal? Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Did I do anything illegal? Did I hurt anybody? Did I harm anybody? Am I going out and saying that I hate one specific group of people? So out of all the judgment that people got from me posting, I just, without talking to me, and then I respect what Joe said, but there has a lot to do with the not ego or pride of how proud I am to be an African heritage, but also to be living as a free black man here in America, knowing the historical complexities for me to get here. So I'm not gonna stand down on anything that I believe in. I'm only gonna get stronger because I'm not alone. I have a whole army around me.
Kyrie, while we're on the topic of promotion, why did you decide to promote something that Alex Jones said?
That was a few weeks ago. I do not stand with Alex Jones' position, narrative, court case that he had with Sandy Hook, or any of the kids that felt like they had to relive trauma, or parents that had to relive trauma, or to be dismissive to all the lives that were lost during that tragic event. My post was a post from Alex Jones that he did in the early 90s or late 90s about secret societies in America of occults, and it's true. So I wasn't identifying with anything of being a campaignist for Alex Jones or anything. I was just there to post, and it's funny, and it's actually hilarious because out of all the things I posted that day, that was the one post that everyone chose to see. It just goes back to the way our world is and works. I'm not here to complain about it. I just exist.
And to follow up on the promotion of the movie and the book,
Can you please stop calling it a promotion? What am I promoting?
put it out on your platform.
But I'm promoting it? Do you see me me
By
in front of
putting it out there,
the
people
title?
are going to say that you are
Yeah, I put
promoting.
it out there just like you put things out there, right?
Yeah, but
Okay.
it's not
You put
stuff,
things out there for a living, right?
right? But my stuff
Great.
is
So
not
let's move on.
filled
Let's
with
move on.
anti-Semitic
Let's
stuff.
move on. Don't dehumanize.
You see how the back and forth with white society, how this is, he kept pushing. How, back and forth. Instead of say, hey, let's move on. We're here for basketball. This is NBA, not what church am I going to tomorrow? Like,
But that's not, I understand that, but you know what? It's sorrowful, but that's not what they were there for. They were
of
there,
course,
right,
divisive,
yeah,
to be
Mhm.
divisive.
and to attack him personally and bring him down.
Yep. They will send they're minions. Send like
Mhm.
some minions to say, hey, the attack is on now. Go out and do this. When the platform in itself, hey, how did you feel in the second quarter or the first quarter or the third quarter? That's the question that you should be asking, not about what he did last night in his bedroom. But here we are again in the society of gag order. No, you shut up, Negro. I'm asking you a question, and you answer when I ask you this question. You're supposed to answer. You see, now, me, Minister Pete, not that I would do it. If you're in front of me and I choke you, then I would be wrong, right? Let's make it clear.
Look,
I
look,
mean,
you know that you know the answer to that yourself. So yeah, that would be wrong. But
yeah, I would be wrong. So I mean, but it's being tactful to say, well, hey, this person, of course, clearly has some mental interruption in his brain and say, hey, let's move on. You don't understand. Did you understand? I just said, let's move on.
No.
I don't want to answer that, but then here again, we're going back to what type of society we live in America.
Absolutely.
Negro, you shut up. It's a gag order. You put a gag, you gag yourself when I'm speaking. And that's what this is portraying. You know, and it's getting, and it can be irritating at times. And if you don't know how to deal with such people, because again, they try to get up under your skin so they can ruffle your feathers. But, you know, we're going to continue at Ministry, and then we're going to go into the buffoonery of the backlash of this. Buffoonery, I said. A buffoon that would even utter to, instead of backing him and having an understanding what he said and say, okay, well, that makes sense. No, they go more or less to continue the attack.
Me up here.
I'm not doing
I'm
that.
another
You're
human
free to
being.
post
I can post whatever I want. So say that and shut it down and move on to the next question.
But Kyrie, you have to understand that by
I don't have to understand anything from you.
But it's
Nothing.
not me.
Nothing.
By
It's no
posting
people that
what
you're
you
making up,
did,
bro. Move on.
But by posting
Move
what
on.
you
Next
did,
question. Next question.
anybody
Do
is
you guys
going
have
to
any
look
more
at
questions
it,
for
and they're
me?
going to say,
You guys have any more
does he have
questions? Because this is going to be a clip.
beliefs?
This is going to be a clip that he's going to marvel at. Is this any more questions?
But you're not answering the question.
Oh, this is another answering your question. Oh my God, let's make another Instagram clip so we could be famous again. Next question.
Kyrie, basketball related.
You see all of that. He had to shut the interview down because this guy couldn't move on. Clearly, this guy was sent there for foolishness.
Absolutely.
He was clearly sent there for foolishness. So now let's go into the ministry. We before a commercial break, we have roughly about 9 minutes for a commercial break, but we're going to go into.
Let's talk
Go ahead,
about
Mr.
this before we go into that.
Go ahead.
Kyrie, what he should have done was absolutely shut that down, because now it becomes antagonistic. It becomes on a level of provoking, and that's not what this is all about. The media is not to attack and confront and consume a basketball player. These are basketball issues. So Kyrie gave his statement, and then they should have left that alone and moved on.
Right.
But here, he was on attack because he was sent there specifically. We understand. We see him. We know where he came from. We know what he was all about. We know what his mission was, and he kept doing that. So I definitely would have been like Kyrie, but I would have shut it down earlier.
Yeah. Right.
Listen, if there is not a basketball related question, then the interview is over, because
It's over.
not a political rally. So I'm gone.
Right.
And you caused it, sir. I will point it to him. You caused it. Let your contemporaries sitting around you, your other members, look at you, because you shut this thing down. And let them get mad at him.
Yep. He should have definitely redirected that into that. And even though the full things he said was right on point, but like you say, I would say, you know what, the minute he went there and said, you know what, I already know where this is going. I did have something good to say as reference to what happened in the game and where we're going, even though we're in a bad space right now with the team and this is happening, the coach and all of that. But, at this point, I don't have anything to say now. Interview over. You guys have a good night. And walked off.
That would have been it.
And
that's it. I definitely would have pointed to.
Yeah,
him,
to
it down because of
this guy here.
Right,
you
right.
Guys,
that's him.
Yeah, this guy right here. He caused this shutdown.
Exactly.
You blame him. Don't blame me, because I wanted to answer some questions related to the NBA.
Right.
Not going who's going to be president next week and who's going to do this next week and what passed. I had nothing to do with that right here. This is not the platform for that.
Right. And so let this be an understanding for even all athletes out there. Once you put your message of truth out there, you state it one time, this is what's going to happen. After you make that statement, Dr. K, you know that they're going to pick it apart. So you put that statement of truth out there and leave it as few words but truth as you possibly can, and then let them eat it up. But you don't go back to it.
Right.
So Black athletes and young athletes that are coming up in the league now, understand this and learn from this experience. that you can say as few words of truth as you possibly can and move on to what you are about, a basketball player.
Yeah. That way you're not in, as I titled the show today, word of death.
Word
You know, they use they using one word to kill you, to kill us more or less, because the minute I say something about a Jew, which I know, yeah, I've done my research about Jews. I've been around them. Met a whole bunch of them, and I've had that conversation with them, and they know. Matter of fact, they've even said personally, Minister P, about that this is more or less a religion that we practice. This is not our true, because by looks, I'm talking to a white gentleman, right? It's something that you do behind closed doors. That's your religion aspect, and if that's the religion you chose, good for you. I'm not knocking that, but the minute
That's what
it
Kyrie
goes,
said too.
yeah, the minute it goes into, well, who was as far as the originator of it and who created it? Oh, now, hey, no, you're black. You can't say that, because that's anti-Semitic statement that you just made of saying. Now we dealing with history now. Now here, Minister P, and we coming full force of this thing. I told people have to come across and talk to us. I said history is very important. I don't know how many times I'm gonna say that. If we don't deal with history, that's like if you had something that said, well, yesterday is what begins today. All right, we're doing something because of history, right? We're doing this show today because of history. We said we're going to do the show yesterday, but now we're doing it. Now this is etched in stone in history, is it not?
Right.
It's etched in stone in history. So if that's not important, people, then what is? What is? I wanted to go into, well, we'll continue in the next segment hour of this show, the buffoonery, you know, and want to get into detail of now why I hate inside NBA now even more now. You know, I was just starting to warm back up to it, you know, with Charles Barkley, Shaq, and Kenny Smith, and Ernie Johnson. Was really just starting to warm back up to that. Now I don't even want to even look at it, because this is sickening. Because, you know, the buffoonery that we got to continuously to play like the goddamn clowns on just to get a paycheck. You know, that's the sickening part. You know, it makes me sick to my stomach to have to look at that and listen to, and I don't have to. That's why I turned it off.
There you go.
But it carries that type of platform carries over. You know, even though this is their platform is just entertainment, because all they're supposed to be discussing is, hey, well, but see, they're looking for views, they're looking for paychecks, they're looking to try to stay and to uphold. Here's that Sambo is trying to uphold something of like, hey, did I do a good job, boss? Even though we know millions of people are watching this, right? Millions now. Millions. Let's just be clear, Mr. Information that we putting out, here again, that makes sense. We're not going to get millions of followers, because we live, let's just make this clear, people. We live in an idiotic society. And I ain't saying everybody is an idiot. As Shaq used it, this guy's an idiot. No, you're the idiot, sir. Because you don't have a full backbone to stand up for what's right. Because all you're looking for is to say, well, I don't want to never have to do anything again because somebody's giving me a paycheck. Well, fine and dandy, but when do you show face, stand up, and be real? Whether you're playing or not. I don't play around with people. I'll joke, laugh, we'll have a good laughter, but when it's serious stuff going on, yeah, we'll talk about it and say, hey, well, first step will be to talk about it, right? If we have a problem,
right?
Let's work this out. And if we can't get to that far, then second step is we shouldn't be around each other at no point in time. So if we had to cross paths, if there's an acknowledgement that had to be had, make some acknowledgement, good morning, good afternoon, good night, and leave it at that. Outside of that, if there's anything more than that, then that means there's a struggle that may happen.
And look, struggle I want to be involved in is the struggle for equity and equality. And I don't
Well,
have time for the other stuff.
exactly. I would say this: equity and equality needs to be in money, because we know that equity and equality, as far as people and being treated, it ain't gonna happen. That goes back to the racetrack analogy I gave before, saying we go to the racetrack, we looking for all the horses to come in equally. It ain't gonna happen, right? You looking to put your money on. Let's look at this. The horse is called Let's Look at This. You want Let's Look at This to come in first, right? You put $1,000 on them. You say, "Oh, I want all the horses coming equally, so I can lose." You don't get nothing out of it. You walk away what you put in. So, in saying that, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go to